Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. And today we are going to discuss about MLOps versus DevOps. In the last video, we had seen why MLOps and what was before MLOps and what is after MLOps. How MLOps has simplified the machine learning life cycle in the current world, and we had seen what all advantages, and we had seen how it simplified the biggest problem between data scientists and the operation team. So today we are going to discuss about what is the similarities between MLOps and DevOps, and we are going to discuss each life cycle and how DevOps, CI/CD works and entire life cycle, and we'll see how MLOps life cycle works. So before that, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe it, and if you haven't liked it and share it to your friends, please go and do it right away, because we are going to get amazing content in this YouTube channel, which is going to become in a playlist wise or in a different way of shapes. So let's go to the DevOps. So if you see here, I have brought the two schematic diagram. The first one is a DevOps and second one is MLOps, and we are going to compare how a DevOps principle is applying on MLOps and what all phases we have in each life cycle. So let's go with the typical DevOps life cycle. So here we have the first stage is build, or we can call it as development phase, and later we have the integration. So in this integration, you can call it as CI/CD integration, which is continuous integration and continuous deployment and delivery. And we have the a number of tools are available in the market, such as Jenkins, and we have Azure DevOps, GitLab, and Saki CI. We have a number of tools are available. So in the DevOps lifecycle, first we are going to integrate the tools like which are source code management, and after that we are going to build your application of a stack. It can be a Java, it can be a Python, it can be a .NET or any other stacks. And later you're going to test your source code with the SAST, which is static application security testing, and you can test your how about code reusability and duplications by calling the SonarQube, which has amazing tools that we have in the market. And with this testing phase, you can do the unit testing of your source code, how your source code is behaving by calling each unit test. And in this testing phase, you can call the malware scanning, and you can go with in the SaaS stuff we have we have different kind of scanning methodologies, like scanning the open source vulnerabilities, and a number of testings we have. So we can do this all the testing by integrating the CI/CD itself. So we just need to write down the pipeline as a code, or you can do these operations via UI. So we have the both optionals in different CI/CD tools. So by specifying the stages, like which stage you want to call first, I would like to build my application first, and I need to test this right away, I need to deploy it by following the CI/CD principles. So it's up to you, way of your flow, how you want to create your CI/CD pipeline. So now we have done the testing. So once testing is done, now the next stage is you would like to deploy your application into any targeted environment. So usually in a real time we have the four environments. The first one is developer environment, and second one is a testing environment, and third one is pre-production, and the fourth one is a production. So it's up to you, where you want to deploy it into your target environment. So if you are a developer, so just build your application, you test your application, you can deploy it into your development environment. Or if you are a tester, so you can deploy in a testing environment, and you would like to see how your application is behaving before even stepping into production. So what you can do, you can deploy it into the pre-prod environment. You can see how your application is behaving. So these all environments we have, we can deploy it. So once deployment is done through the CI/CD pipeline, you can check how your deployment is behaving, or you can call the health checks via CI/CD pipeline itself. So later you have to monitor your application, how the application is behaving, how the traffic has been coming, and what is the CPUs, and what kind of health checks it has been passing, and what all the HTTP methods it has been rendering, and you can do with a number of monitoring with the monitoring. So after monitoring, you can trigger the alerts if something messed up, so you're going to get the alerts with the monitoring itself. So that's what we call as feedback. So with the feedback, you can take the feedback where you are messed up, even it's a production and non-prod, wherever amendments you have. So after taking the feedback, so you can again communicating to developers, and you can say that, hey, we have found some bugs, and we have seen this application is not behaving in production due to this cause. So accordingly you can take the development, and again it will go for the CI/CD, integrate all the set of tools, and principles, and later you can test out again, deploy it, and again you can monitor it. So this is life cycle of DevOps, which is keep going on. So it's very quick, once you done the deployment, so you can get all the feedback back to your developers or operational team wherever they are located. So that's why DevOps has been good fit for software development lifecycle, where you can give a good feedback as quickly, and you can fix it, and again you can pass all the best practices and principles, and again you can deploy it into the target environment. So that's about the DevOps lifecycle, what regularly we follow into software development lifecycle. And when it comes to MLOps, we are going to follow the same principle that we have applied onto normal software development. We are just going to build it and we test it by calling all the softwares or tools, you can call it, by integrating the CI/CD tool in between. So with the CI/CD tool, you are going to specify, hey, I need to have these many stages and these many jobs has to be called in between one by one, and it's a sequential. So you can specify everything on a pipeline as a code into your CI/CD tool. Accordingly, you can follow these all all the principles, and you can make your software development life cycle more easier. So now when it comes to MLOps, if you see that in DevOps, we have the phases called as build and test and deploy and monitor. So it's the same way, when it comes to machine learning, we have the different kinds of phases that regularly machine learning life cycle follows. The first one, we call it as data collection and data pre-processing, and we have the EDA, which is exploratory data analysis, and we have the feature engineering, and next we can go with the model selections and model planning, model testing and model evaluation, and we have the hyperparameter tuning, and we have the model deployment. So these many phases we have in machine learning, which means the phases are different, but the life cycle we are going to apply same into machine learning. So if you see here, the first stage is data pre-processing. So here we can call the data from different resources, from API, from any sensor, or from any raw data which is available in CSV files. You can take the data, and later you can pre-process it, and you can do the feature engineering and exploratory data analysis, and later you can select the model which is good fit for your business problem resolution. So this is how I can do the first phase, data preparation, and later can go with the model training. So in the model training, in the model training, so what is going to be you're going to train your model with the data that you have pre-processed it, and later you're going to evaluate the model. So in the evaluation process, you can say that you can test your model how it is behaving. So while you're taking the data, you are going to split the data, which is 70% of data that you are going to use for training, and 30% of data that you are going to use for evaluation, which is testing purpose. And later you're going to deploy your application into a specific environment. We have a number of environments, you can use AWS SageMaker, and you can use Azure Machine Learning, Azure ML, you can use it, or you can directly containerize your image through Docker, and you can run it on any orchestration tool such as Kubernetes, and we have the amazing orchestration tools we have a Docker Swarm and OpenShift, so you can deploy it. Or if you want to directly deploy your application, you can create a typical file, and right after you can take any one of the server, you can run your application as independently. So it's up to you how you want to deploy it, and later you are going to do the continuous monitoring. So in this machine learning lifecycle, continuous monitoring is a very crucial role it plays. Just because of you have deployed it doesn't mean that you just leave your model as it is. So just because of once you deploy the machine learning model into production or whatever target environment, it's your responsibility to monitor your machine learning model, how effectively it is giving you predictions as per the data it is been passing through in a production level. So once monitoring is done, so the next stage is which is continuous training, which is not available into our DevOps life cycle. So here continuous training is something that you have developed your model by taking the raw data or any live data from from CSV file, any other APIs. So what you are going to do, you are going to train the data, the offline data with your models, and once it is done, so you're going to deploy it into production. Now the production model is going to take the live data, and it is going to give a predictions. It is fine, everything is going fine. Let's example, your machine learning model was deployed 30 days ago. Now from day 1 to till 30 days, we have the latest data which is available into data lakes or data warehouses. So it's our responsibility to train our machine learning model with the latest data, and we'd like to see how the machine learning model is behaving. So that's why we are going to use continuous training principle over here into machine learning operations, which means like you are going to train your model by passing the new data through offline or online. It's up to you how best practices that you would like to follow. And once you train your model, you would like to see how it is behaving. Accordingly, you are going to take next step, whether you are going to take a data preprocessing again, which is the initial stage. Like if your machine learning model is behaving weirdly with the new data, so now you need to retrain your model, you need to rewrite the entire source code. So that is why it's your responsibility to continuously train your model with the new data. So this is how you can automate the things. But just we have discussed about machine learning lifecycle. When it comes to driving this machine learning lifecycle, we can use a number of tools which is available in the market. So just to finish all those stages that are available here in a lifecycle of machine learning, you can use any kind of CI/CD tools like Jenkins. You can use Azure DevOps and GitHub Action, which is widely popular current current days. Like you can use it, and Azure DevOps we have CI. So you can take any one of the machine learning, any one of the CI/CD tools. So you can automate this entire machine learning lifecycle on it, and like can take the raw data or any live data from different resources by calling the APIs, any kind of things, and you can pass all those all this life cycle as a stages or jobs into CI/CD pipeline, and you can get the prediction value. And later you can dockerize your source code, like as a Docker image or any other container runtime which is available in the market. You can deploy in a target server. So, and when it comes to different kind of versions, like how we are going to consider the versions and trainings and different experiments, how we are going to track. So for that purpose, we have amazing tools called as MLflow. So you can take advantage of MLflow. You can deploy the MLflow either in your local or any target server, and you can connect this MLflow server with your source code, and accordingly, whenever you run this entire CI, CD, and CT, continuous integration, continuous deployment, and delivery on continuous training, will all the metrics and it will get logged into the MLflow, and from there you can see how your model has been giving better predictions whenever experiment has been run on each a number of amount from the data scientist. So you can integrate such a type of flow to get track your all the experiments from data scientists, because like data scientist has been writing the source code from his local laptop, so it's our responsibility to get tracked not only from his laptop, so it's our responsibility to get tracked on the server level. So that's why you can deploy the MLflow either into your Docker container, get run into your Kubernetes cluster, or it's your responsibility to deploy the MLflow into any one of the independent server, and from there you can get run and you can give access to your data scientist fellow members. And this is how we can use the continuous integration, which is integrating all these phases which I've discussed, like data preparation and model training and evaluation. And you can, after deployment, we have a number of best practices that we have applied in DevOps, which is like you can test whether deployment is succeed or not. You can, after deployment, you can pass the sample values, or you can pass any kind of random values to the model, and you can see how it is model prediction. So once you're satisfied, then you can release into production from your deployment. So what I mean to say that, let's example, you have deployed into a dev environment and you have tested everything, but you would like to do this on the CI/CD pipeline itself. So for that reason, what you can do, you can pass the machine learning sample values, which is going to take and is going to your prediction. So those values can be passed through a CI/CD pipeline itself, and from there we are going to call the machine learning model for checking up the accuracy. So once you train the latest values with your machine learning model, so it is going to give predictions. Once you're satisfied, then you can push to our testing environment or pre-production production. So we have a bunch of best practices that which we have already existed in DevOps, and we can apply those best practices into MLOps. So that's all. That's about like applying the DevOps principle into MLOps by bringing the best practices, applying the best practices into the each stages into the CI/CD tools, and bringing the machine learning model deployable into production very accurately. Just because of if you go to the articles into the internet, 80% of machine learning models has not been made up into the production, just because of there is issue about the machine learning models has been facing the issues of inconsistency of the infrastructures and best practices. There are hundreds of issues were there. That's why MLOps brought into this machine learning culture, and it has been resolving such a big issue where it is bringing making the gap between or bridging the gap between the machine learning and operational team and getting deployed our machine learning models into production through all the CI/CD steps by following the life cycles. So that's all about taking the comparison between or taking the reference of DevOps and MLOps in this video. And thanks for watching. If you have liked this video, please subscribe to my channel and like this video, share to your friends who are needed for this learning the MLOps into the future. Thanks for watching.